Hello and welcome to this edition of Crossover. I'm Ji Xiaojun with David and Stella. Long time no see, Stella, in Crossover. We have two PR guys here in Crossover. Well, some sad news in the PR world in Beijing. Yeah. There was a boy, 24-year-old only, and
the same
died.
age as mine.
All right, okay, but he just died not long ago. According to media reports, he'd been working extra hours for about 1 month before that tragedy happened. So that's possibly one of the reasons, and that's why on all these media reports they call it the cause of his death could be overwork, overtime working, over workloads. We don't know, but it seems that's a big issue now these days. People talk about. And that's not the only case that happened, not only in NPR world, but in consulting and these,
investment bankers.
Lots of different, areas that happened, and people died young. And sometimes we just accuse that of, all these extra hours of working or having to work for long hours for a long time. So both of you work in the PR world, or you used to work for the PR world. What exactly is the picture like to be working in PR?
Well, I think overtime working in PR industry is quite normal. Yeah, you cannot say you need to work overtime every day, but it's quite often. Because this industry is kind of a special industry that requires lots of work, especially before if you have a big events to prepare, or you have a lot of activities going on at the same time. You have or you have a client who is always pushy, chasing you for lots of things. Then you have to work overtime. It seems that you don't have many choices. So that's the condition. But for this guy, I think maybe this is a special case because we're all the industry insiders. So we have heard something from maybe his colleagues or his friends. Actually, the case was he was actually on leave in the week. Sick leave. You can call it sick leave or annual leave. It makes no difference. He was actually on leave for a whole week before the day he died. Actually, the day he died, he was just came back from his leave. Maybe he felt that he was feeling better, so he came back to work. But the problem is that the tragedy happened exactly on the day when he came back to work. So I think maybe he was not feeling well for quite some time. It cannot be sudden. So maybe he was not feeling well for quite a long time, but he was not, giving enough attention to this. So that's why the tragedy happened.
Yeah, that is the case for many young people living independently in Beijing, because actually when you're at home, you have somebody taking care of you. But actually, if you are young, if you are single, if you are working hard in Beijing, if you are living by yourself, it's kind of really, really difficult for you to carry yourself that much as your parents or your friends or your relationship does.
We always talk about, the pressure. Pressure seems to be the word that came out a lot in the PR world. How big was the pressure?
I think the pressure comes from in multiple ways. For instance, we have deadlines every day because it's kind of that you are working in a frontier of communication.
Deadlines for what?
For press releases, for events, for all those kind of...
For speech, for anything.
For now, the client is waiting anxiously for the PR agency to prepare a statement that can be released to the media. And nowadays, with the social
So we are
network,
the ones to blame, right?
Part of the reason.
the public want to know the truth as early as possible. So we are working, we are chasing our tails to work out some statement. And nowadays, with the social networking development, all those kind of communication become more socially based. So you have to send out all those messages on a daily basis rather than maybe bi-weekly or weekly. So it brings huge pressure when you are at a very frontier of communication industry.
But what about the individuals and the pressure that individuals might be feeling? What kind of pressure is that? I mean, that's like the pressure put on the company, but in turn, to these individuals, especially with these young employees, new employees, they tend to be the ones doing the real job, drafting these letters. What kind of pressure we're talking about these people?